so you should be able to see my screen. You should also be able to hear me. If you can do me a favor, let me know my technology is working by dropping a chat in the chat box or the question area on the left-hand side of your screen. That would be super helpful. So you should be able to see my screen. You should also be able to hear me. We are going to be going through the marketing section of the software today. The goal is that through this session, you will be able to really have an overview of all of the marketing tools at your fingertips within the platform. So I do recognize that a lot of you just went through the session at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time that really was only on marketing campaigns. This session is really going to be a high-level overview of everything that's happening within your marketing tab here. So as we go through the system today and as we really work through things, you'll have a very high level of all the tools available to you at your fingertips. Now, as we get started and as we're jumping into things, hey, Carol, I would love to know where you all are joining us from and how long you've been in the business so that I can really speak to the level that you're at. So how long have you been in the business and where are you joining us from? As you're dropping those in, we're going to start going through that marketing section. So when you log into your back office, you have a lot of tools, and some of the things that you have access to are a marketing center. So when you go in and you click on marketing, you're going to see a few options here for you to utilize. Now, as we're going through this today, I really want to start at the top and work your way down so that you know what you can and cannot do. And so at the top of this marketing area is a section that says My Orders. Now, when you click on My Orders, this is going to open up your main postcard order screen. So that is where you can order postcards through the system. So as you're creating a full marketing plan, if doing hard copy mail is part of your plan, you can order those through your Back at You. Now, as you're getting into postcard ordering, know that these take 7 to 10 days to process. So as you're ordering, you want to make sure that you give yourself enough lead time for them to be delivered in a timely manner. And also know that you can go ahead and you can access your whole CRM from here. So to create an order, if you've never created an order before, you will see this green Create an Order button. Or you can utilize the plus button in the upper right-hand corner, and this will open up your postcard ordering wizard. So we're going to walk through that process. These cards are 6x8. They are high gloss cards. They look really nice. We actually just switched vendors because we were able to get a higher quality of printing done. And so the first step in ordering your postcards is choosing the display. So as you scroll through, you can see there are buyer postcards, there are home valuation postcards, there are just listed postcards, and you can select the layout that you would like. Some other things to keep in mind are as you're looking at a postcard, so let's say, hey, we want to use this Buyers for Your Neighborhood green. You can edit the information in this postcard. So when you click, as you can see as I hover over these items, that they highlight in gray. Here we are, they highlight in gray, and I can change anything that I highlight over is something that can be changed. So if I don't like this photo of these 4 people, no big deal. I can click and I can change it. My choices here are I can choose from company uploaded images. If your company has uploaded images, you can access those here. If you want to access your images that you have uploaded, you can do that and upload them here. Also, if you want to upload your own photo, you can do that. You would just go ahead and you would click the upload my own image here, upload my own image, or you can access your own images. So if you want to upload an image, great. We're going to add a file. We're going to go in and find our photo that we would like to use. And we're going to insert it into the postcard. So you can upload your own image. Here it goes. It's going to be automatically inserted in. It's going to show me the best fit. And I can click save. Now it's going to enter that information in. Here it is. Now I can see that postcard. Now, what if I want to change this text? Maybe I want this to say, wow. Wow. Are you ready for a new view? I can change that text so that this postcard can really be customized to what I want it to say. Change the photos, change the text. I also want to point out that you can click on select a property here in the right-hand corner. Now, because we're directly integrated with your MLS through your website, we are really working on maximizing that feed. So if I want to select a property here, I can do that. I can go in, I can scroll through my listings, and I can select a property. When I do that, it's also going to override not only the information, but the photos from that listing. So it's going to insert the photos. It's also going to help me geographically target where I want these to send to. So I can see here, it's entered that in. So I can change the photos, I can change the text. Your company logo will show where this logo image is, and it will automatically pull all of your information onto the back of the card. Now, once you've made all of your edits to your postcard, you're going to click Save and Continue. And when you click Save and Continue, you're going to be taken to a screen where you choose who are you sending this item to. Are you sending it to a contact type? So if you want to send it out to your circle of influence, awesome. If you want to send it out to a certain client type, no big deal. You can move those contact types into your selected items here. The other thing that you can do is you can upload a contact file. So if you've gotten a contact file from the title company, or you've downloaded it, or you've purchased a list, or you keep all your contacts in Excel and you want to just upload your list, you can absolutely upload a contact file here by clicking on this button. Once that file is uploaded, it will show you that selected quantity here. Now, as you scroll down, there's a few other options you have. One, you can have the postcards mailed to your office. When they're mailed to your office, they are not addressed and they do not have postage on them. So if you select to send these out either by sending to your contacts or targeted, Back at You is going to address them and add the postage. If you have them mailed to your office, they are going to come to your office with no contact information on them, and you are going to have to pay for the postage. You will notice that in the price reflection, there is a difference in having us mail them versus you mailing them, and that those prices are clearly displayed on your account. So I can have them come to my office. I can also have them go out to my contact type. The third way that you can have postcards mailed out is to do a targeted list. And when you do a targeted list, what you would do is you would go ahead and you would type in an address, and then you would choose a quantity. And this is going to be a radius surrounding the address that you're delivering to. So, hey, I'm going to deliver to the 100 closest residents to this or this physical address. Notice that I did not have to change my, or I can change that. So just because the property is physically located in Nevada or Kentucky or Seattle area or California does not mean that's where I need to mail them to. You can mail anywhere in the United States. We can go ahead and go in and you could say, hey, I want to send this to 1610 Wood Hill Road in Minnetonka, Minnesota. So you choose what that looks like. Once you have that in, you can go ahead and click Save and Continue. And on the next screen, you're going to get a review of your order. How many postcards are you ordering? What is the cost of those postcards? And then you'll move on to the payment. Again, just a reminder, these postcards take 7 to 10 business days to arrive at their destination. So keep that in mind when you're ordering and you're doing your marketing plan. Once you've reviewed, I go ahead and I click payment. And I would put in my payment information. And now my order is being processed. Through the order processing, you are going to get a proof of your postcard. Hey, this is my postcard proof. Once you approve your postcard proof, we move forward with processing it. You do have to approve it. If you have any changes, you can change it. And once it's approved, we start processing it. We get the file over to the printer, they process it, and it goes to the post office. So that is the first tool that you have access to underneath your marketing My Orders section. The next piece of, are there any questions there before I go on to print or email marketing? Are there any questions about postcard orders? Awesome. So the next section that we're going to talk about is Carol, at this time underneath the orders screen, there are not holiday postcards. So if I go in and I click on order, these are all really buyer or seller focused. So there's not a holiday section in here. And if you're going to do a postcard order and you're going to have us mail them out, you want to make sure you're going to marketing My Orders. I can walk you through, and the next section is really going in and utilizing your saved content, your email cards, and that side. So if you go in and you want to create content, hey, I want to create a buyer letter or a seller letter or a holiday card or a open house announcement. To do that, you're going to go in and you're going to go to My Saved Content. Now you'll notice that My Saved Content is on here twice. I can say, hey, My Saved Content underneath e-marketing or underneath print marketing. And either way, this is going to take me to the same place. So I click on marketing. And when I go in, I'm taken to my main content dashboard where all of the content that I've ever created exists. So I can scroll through and I can see every flyer and every letter I've ever created. And when you go in to start making postcard or content, you're going to click plus add content here. So to create your own print or email content, you go to marketing, My Saved Content, and then you click on plus add content. Gwen, I'm going to come back to your question in just a second. So let me loop back around to that. When you click add content here, it is going to pull up all of the available content that you can either print out yourself or email out. So you'll notice on the left-hand side here, I've got I can filter this by emailable. or by printable content, and it will filter based on what content I have. So if I want to email something out, I can filter this list. If I want to print something out, I can filter that by this list. And if we're going to go through a couple types of content. So the first type of content we're going to talk about today is blank content. So if you want to create a buyer letter, maybe you have created something in another program that you want to upload, you love what you're doing. Maybe you have, you want to do a compare and contrast, talking about, three different lender interviews, or, your spotlight of the month. You can do that. The first step in doing that is selecting your content piece. So we're going to do blank content 3. I'm going to select this, and then I can see here that it pulls out from the right-hand side of the screen how to edit that content. First thing you need to make sure you do is name your content. So perhaps this is going to be pre-approval versus pre-qualified. And I'm going to add it to my letter category. And once I do that, I can go ahead and I can go in, and anything that has this little photo with a tab and a mountain is a place for you to insert an image. When you do that, I'm going to click and say, hey, here is the image I would like to use. I'm going to use maybe a company image. Maybe I'm going to use one of my images. I'm going to select this image. It will auto crop it to the right size, and it will insert that. If I go ahead and I click, and I'm going to add an image in both of these just so that we have those. And now I've got my images spot filled. Now in these columns underneath, in this example, if I click on each individual item, I can go ahead and I can type in these boxes. So I could say pre-qualified means blah, 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 blah. This is what it means. This is why it's beneficial. This is where it falls down. This is what you need in this market. I also can use this add to text feature. So if I want to add to my text a contact first name, I can do that. And now whatever is in these brackets will dynamically fill. So if I'm sending this out to a list that includes Taya, Molly, Carol, Gwen, all in one list, it's going to say pre-qualified means Carol, pre-qualified means Gwen, pre-qualified means Taya, and it will automatically insert that information in. I can write all that information in, I can click on save, and then I have that piece of content that I can utilize either as a letter I print out, I can use it as something that I email out as a one-time email, I can utilize it in an action plan, or I can utilize it in a marketing campaign. So as you're creating content, you are able to use it across multiple platforms. So it is the best practice to create your content first, and then you can attach it different places. There's a couple questions I want to address there first as we go through this. If I'm sending a letter, will there be a company logo on the top or the bottom of the page? Carol, that depends on what layout you choose. If you choose a blank layout, it is truly a blank layout. There's nothing on that. If you're sending it out as a one-time email, it's not going to have any information on it unless you add that. If you send it out in a campaign, it will add an unsubscribe footer. But if I choose, for example, this blank content 1, and I go in and I edit this content, you absolutely can add your agent email signature. And when you do that, it will pull your signature from your profile. So when I click save an email, it's going to go ahead and it's pulling my signature from my profile here. So you can insert that as one of the options. Another option is when you're looking at individual content pieces. So if you start to look at holiday cards and things like that, in the preview, it will show you what's included. So if I go in and I look at like this 4th of July card and I preview it, this is just a thumbnail. And right here where this, I've got a broken image right now, but your company logo will be here so that all of my contact information is at the bottom, but my company is stamped here. Carol, does that answer your question? So it depends on the type of content you choose. If you're doing a blank letter and you want your company to be included in your logo and all of that, use your agent signature, make sure it's in your agent signature, and then it will be included. Great question. Carol, did that answer it before I move on? Awesome. Gwen, I do still know I have to come back to your question about postcards because you had to take a quick call and I have not forgotten you. I do want to just go through some of the content types that are available to you. One, you can see blank content, there's e-blasts, there's flyers, there's newsletters, there's property flyers. If I want to do a property flyer like an open house, awesome. I can go in, I can choose my open house layout that I would like. I can select a property. It's going to pull, again, that list from the MLS. And I can select the property. And it will automatically insert all of the information about that property. And so I don't have to go to MLS. I don't have to upload things. I don't have to go back and forth and download and upload. It's all going to happen for you. So here it is. It inserts all the photos. And it has that here. And so once I go in, I can click save. And again, I've got that piece of content here. So you can create a lot of different content for you. All of that is here and ready to go. Now, a couple questions to go back to postcards. Before I wrap back to postcards to wrap up those loose end questions, are there any questions about creating your own content? Again, to get here, we went to marketing, my saved content, and we clicked on add content. Any questions there? Awesome. First question is, why does Back at You not have holiday postcards? We have holiday options for e-marketing and print, but not for actual postcards. That doesn't make sense to me. Carol, the mailing of postcards is actually a relatively new feature for us. And so we are working on building out our libraries, and that's just not something that is part of it at this time. I do not know if that is in the larger project scope, but really where we started with creating postcards is really in farming. And so that is the reason, is that most farming that is done is property-based farming, not necessarily holiday-based. I can sure ask our team. I don't know that that's on our radar, but the reason is, one, this is a relatively new feature, and two, it's meant to do farming, and so to be fairly property specific is the goal. Gwen also asked, hey, can we create a template that will come up every time? I don't like the pre-printed language. So Gwen, when you choose your postcard and you're looking at the pre-printed language, that is something that you can edit, but you do have to edit it every time you do a postcard. So if I look in and I say, hey, I've got buyers for your neighborhood, and I want to edit this, you do have to edit this every time at this point. That's your question, yes? Can you set this to default to something else? Yeah. And what I've done is I actually just have a Word document that I typed up all my stuff on, so I can just copy and paste it. But at this time, You can't, that is the default language and you do have to edit it every time. Lena, that is a question for your broker. That really depends on the brokerage and your state laws, and I do not know how to answer that. So Lena asked the question, since photos are available from other properties that are not our own listings, she's assuming that we have authorization to use them for our postcards. That is something that's done at the brokerage level. I do not have the answer to that. That is a question for your broker. We are just making the most of that MLS feed and making it available for you. You need to ask your broker that question though. Will we be able to create templates in the future? Karen, do you mean when you go in, if you want to create like your own layout on this screen, or what Gwen was asking about templating out your language? Like, are you talking about, I want my own template for this? Or are you talking about templating out language within the card? I do not know. I don't know the answer to that. And so I can follow up with our product team. I've never been asked that question before. It's a great question, Gwen. But I don't know the answer to that. So let me do some digging and see what I know. So that's a great. So yes. So yeah, no problem, Karen. So Carol also added to her farming and adding that holiday card. But what I would like to also let you think about is when you go in and you create an order and you're looking at these layouts, because you can edit the text and because you can edit the photos, there is some flexibility that you have. So when you're thinking about sending something out, if you wanted to send out a holiday card or you wanted to send something out about hurricane preparedness or something like that, you can edit those images. And so a way to work around that may be, Carol, hang on, my internet is causing me a delay here. So one way to work around that may be, hey, I'm going to upload my own image. Hey, I like this layout of, a photo on this side and a banner on this side. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to upload my own image here. Maybe I want to put in a holiday image. So maybe I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, hey, it's football season is maybe starting. I'm going to click save and say, hey, are you cheering for your team? Or something like that. So you could upload your own image here. And then you could change this text here. Or what I do know has been requested is a blank front. So that there is really and truly only, you upload your full front, your own personal image that takes over the entire front. So I know there are some things on our radar, but Carol, as far as answering why there are not holiday postcards in here, that's outside of my realm of knowledge. Any other questions about postcards? So again, in that marketing section, we've talked about how to go in, how to create a postcard order, how to create saved content, including property flyers or blank content. And also there are drip email campaigns. So if you want to create a drip email campaign, which is really a distribution list of your clients, so it's a list of clients that are receiving a series of emails. You can do that. To create your own campaign, you would go to Marketing, My Campaigns, and to add a campaign, you would click on plus campaign in the upper right-hand corner. When you create a campaign, you're going to go ahead, you're going to name that campaign. And the first thing you're going to do is select your first piece of content. So if this campaign is geared out, and this is my digital farming list summer 2020, I can add that. A good practice, best practice, is to do this by contact type. So maybe I want this to be something that is prospective client listings. And then you're going to add your first piece of content. Now you can create content right from within the campaign, but you also can go in and say, hey, I want to use my content. When I go in and you say, hey, I'm going to use my content, it will pull up all of your past content. And I can say, hey, I want to use my first meeting letter. And when I do that, it automatically inserts the content. It also automatically fills in the subject line with whatever that content is called. So something that you want to do and what you want to make sure of is that in the subject line, you're putting in a new subject line. Hey, this is great to meet you. You can also give that event a title. First contact email. And then you're going to choose how you want to send it. If I go in and I click send using, I can choose the date. If I choose a date, it's going to go out on that date after my specified time, and anyone I add to the campaign after that date is not going to receive that email. If I choose month, it is going to go out on the first day of that month 50 times. A good use case for using the month would be something like home maintenance tips or seasonal activities. It's going to go out every year on January 1st until you inactivate it. If I choose holiday or birthday, it is going to go out and use holiday or birthday here. So here I can choose my holiday or birthday, and it will go out year after year after year after year on that. And the next item I have is interval. So I can also send this using an interval. And what an interval style email is this is how you can say, hey, no matter when I add someone to this campaign, whether I add them today or 10 days or 30 days or a year from now, they need to get this series of emails in this order. On the first day, they get this email. On the second day, they get this email. On the third day, they get this email. On the fourth day, they get this email. For here, you're going to put your interval for days, and this interval is based on when they're added to the campaign. Each event is independent of each other. You can also choose to send out on the day of the week, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays. Again, this is a repeatable item, so if you choose Fridays, it goes out every Friday. A good option for this is to be able to say, hey, I'm going to send out to my active buyers a reminder on Wednesday that, hey, just want to make sure you're checking your email, that you didn't have any properties you wanted to schedule to go see. Let me know if you do. Shoot me a text or an email. Hope you're having a great week. It can be the same email every week, every Friday, every Wednesday, whatever it is, and it's going to go out over and over. And the next thing you're going to have go out, your option is a transaction date. Hey, I want this to go out using the transaction date. I want to send it out after 15 days, and here's the information. So you can send this out many different ways. Lena, that's a great question. So the question that came up is, if you want to send out an email just one time, not a campaign, What do you choose? And in order to answer that question, I need a little bit more information. How many people are you sending it to? What is my first question? And what you would use if you wanted to send it out on a specific date just once. Hey, I want to send out an open house flyer. I want it to go out on Friday. You would say, hey, I'm choosing the date. I'm sending it Friday and I'm sending it after this time. If you are sending to over 50 people, you need to use an email campaign so that you are in compliance with CAN and spam, the Anti-CAN, Anti-Spam Act, because when you utilize a campaign, the unsubscribe option is automatically included. So that is something to keep in mind. So if I want it to go out once, I'm going to use a date. I'm going to choose my time. It's only going to go out one time. But when you're using a campaign, what you're doing is you're choosing your distribution list. So I add my event. And when I do that, I can see here's my prospective client campaign. It's going to go, I'm going to add my prospective clients to this campaign, and there's one event. Now, if I want to send something else out to my prospective clients, I can add an additional event here. Okay, I've got it, my first email contact. I'm going to add an event. Maybe this event is an open house flyer. I'm doing an open house and I want them to know what's going on. Awesome, I'm going to go in. I'm going to choose a property flyer, open house. I'm going to choose this open house flyer, and it's only going to go out one time. Awesome. I'm going to send it on, I want this to go out on Friday because I'm hosting it on Saturday at 2 o'clock. On Friday is when it's going to go out. I select that property again. Hey, I'm sitting in open house at this property. All of that information gets inserted, and that email only goes out one time. Lena, did that answer your question? Awesome. So using a campaign allows you to get events, email events, out to a list of contacts following the Anti-CAN Spam Act and efficiently. So once it finishes processing, it's going to insert all that information and I can move forward. If I want it to go out one time, I use a date. If I want it to go out as a series, I use intervals. If I want it to go out on a holiday, I choose holiday. Each event is independent of the other events. So you can have some things that are date-based. You can have some things that are interval-based. You can have some things that are holiday-based, all within one campaign. So I can see here, I've got a Cinco de Mayo. I've got a transaction plus 1 year. I've got a date. I've got an interval, all in the same campaign, all going to a specific contact type. So I can go in, I can add recipients. I can choose my contact type. Awesome. I need my apartment renters. And now that contact type is associated with this campaign. Absolutely, I can, Karen. So the question is, hey, can we just touch back on what an interval is with a campaign, with an event? And so if I click on event and I'm adding something by interval, that means that when I add someone to that campaign, they're getting things in that order. So if I'm going to choose just a holiday, let's do so this is a bad example of what content it is, but it gets us to the screen. So I'm sending using an interval, and maybe I have a series of 5 buyer's letters, okay? Letter 1, letter 2, letter 3, letter 4, letter 5. And I need those to go out in that order, right? They have to go out in that order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I choose interval, I'm going to choose the day that I want this to go out on. So I could have this one go out on day 1. I could add in another event that was interval day 2, another event that was interval day 3, another event that was interval day 4. And then no matter when I add a contact, so Karen, if I add you to that campaign today, you're going to get the email for day 1 today, the email for day 2 tomorrow, and so on and so forth. But if I add Carol to that same campaign next Monday, she's going to get those same emails in that same order because it's all based on an interval from when you were added to the campaign. Does that make more sense for you, Karen? Awesome. Also, in that campaign, if I am targeting my circle of influence, or maybe I'm targeting an email list of that I've gotten for a neighborhood, I could have an interval series of like 5 intervals that they needed to receive in order. But if Friday I'm sitting in open house in that neighborhood and I want to email out to that list my open house, I could have that one piece be date based and everything else be interval based. So each event is independent of the other events. So that is the drip email my campaigns in a nutshell. The other items that you have access to in here, you do have access to something called My Images. If you want to upload or manage your images that are showing, so in all of that content, when I went in and I had my images that I had uploaded, if I want to edit any of these or go in and say, hey, I need to delete this or rename this, I can do that. You can also add folders so that you can organize your images. That's what My Images are. There is also the ability to do blogging. So if you're someone that wants to run a blog for your website, you can access your blog here and start blogging. I'm not going to go into blogging or surveys because those are 2 separate sessions that are about 40 minutes each, and we do those in deep dive. Just please know that within the marketing section, if you want to run a blog or you want to do surveys, you absolutely have the ability to do that. I do want to make sure I touch on testimonials. So if you have someone who emails you a testimonial, hey Gwen, you were the best agent I ever had. I'm so excited. I really want you to be my best friend and my agent, and I can't wait to work with you again. You can add a testimonial to your system. To get there, you would go into Marketing, Testimonials, and then you can click on Plus New. And you can add that testimonial. Do I want to show it on the website? Yes. This was given to me on the 19th of June. My client's name is Gwen. And the testimonial is Kelsey is showing us how to add testimonials for our website. Now, once that's typed in or copied and pasted, you can click Save. These testimonials show up on your profile on the company site and on your agent page. So when you go in and someone's looking at your company and they look at your About Me page, it's going to show your testimonials here. If you also want your Zillow testimonials to show on your About Me page, you go into your profile and underneath your preferences, there is a section that says Zillow, and you can add your Zillow testimonials. You just need to make sure you have the email address you have in Zillow, that you put that here so we can match it. Also, if you're using Real Satisfied, which is a customer feedback survey processor, you can use that. You just need your Real Satisfied vanity key, and those will automatically link in. So if you're manually adding a testimonial, you can do that underneath marketing, testimonials. But if there's other sources you need to pull testimonials in for marketing purposes, you would do that underneath your account and your preferences. So that's a lot of information in about 45 minutes. Again, today we went through how to order postcards. Again, you can order those postcards. They take 7 to 10 business days. You can order them. They are 6x8 glossy. And you can either send them to your contact list, upload a list, you can have them sent to your office, or you can geographically target them by a radius. So if I say, hey, I want to send them to this address, it's going to send them to the 100 closest addresses, or the quantity closest addresses to that home based on a radius. We also talked about going in and creating your own content that you can go in, you can add content, flyer content. Once your content is created, you can easily attach that to a marketing drip campaign. You can upload your images. You have access to edit a blog and utilize surveys, and you also can add testimonials. You're welcome, Gwen. As we go through this session was recorded. You can absolutely access it. All of our information is at youtube.com at Back at You Office. And all of them are posted here. You will also be getting an email today from support at Back at You with the copies of this recording so that you have access to that. And within your office, if you click on the question mark here, you have access to an entire knowledge base of information. And so this knowledge base is a great place for you to start for that information. Again, you'll get a copy of this recording. I appreciate you all being here and taking the time to train.